I got Justin Bieber fever. Okay, one of my posts past few days, I talked about how Donald Trump, um, I don't know exactly if it was a presidential pardon or it was some form of clemency that he gave to Roger Stone, who was convicted of lying to Congress, maybe some other things. And somebody said, well, I said basically, it's dirty pool being the president and using your pardon me get out of jail free abilities to but somebody wanted to know, well, does that make because I think I called them all criminals. Somebody wants to know, do I think Donald Trump is a Nazi? No. No, Donald Trump is not a Nazi. George W. Bush's grandfather, George H.W. Bush's father, on the other hand, if you follow freely available information, photographs of old newspaper articles that are available on the internet, Senator Prescott Bush certainly sympathized with the Nazis and was involved with doing business with Nazi Germany and banking with Nazi Germany. Does that make George H.W. Bush a son of a Nazi and W. grandson of a Nazi? I'm more inclined to say yes, especially given George H.W. Bush was the head of the CIA. Aren't they supposed to be pro-American? I don't know. The CIA was often used against Latin America to keep American businesses running the show. Was George H.W. Bush involved with the Kennedy assassination? Was W. involved with 9/11? I mean, he was the president, but I mean, was he involved with whatever happened in 9/11? He comes across as a very stupid man, W. Is he smart enough? Well, he had Dick Cheney, who seemed like Professor Moriarty, who was the arch rival of Sherlock Holmes. Dick Cheney certainly is smart enough to pull off a 9/11 as an inside job. W, figurehead president, he just comes across as kind of a slack-jawed yokel. What exactly happened in 9/11? I don't know. It was on PBS. Dick Cheney, the vice president, was telling the combat air patrol that's supposed to be flying over various cities on the east coast of the United States, don't fly combat air patrol. We're going to have a war game and we're going to send you way out into the Atlantic Ocean. It was on PBS. I mean, I haven't been to New York City ever in my whole life. So as far as I know, with my eyewitness eyes, I can't tell you if there ever were twin towers in New York City, because all I've seen are films and videotapes. I just want you to remember that. I've never been to New York City. And, what do I think about my opinion about 9/11? What's my opinion about Die Hard, the movie with Bruce Willis? As far as it goes, I can't tell the difference between what goes on in Die Hard, the movie, and what's presented on the news as this is what happened in New York City. So, I've never been to China. I guess I assume there's a China. I mean, I've lived in Vancouver, Canada, where you see these big container ships that arrive at the port, and they're supposed to come from somewhere full of goods. But I've never been to China. I've only seen, like videotapes and films. Why am I talking about this? It's simply because so many of you people don't put the caveat out there. I've never been to New York, or I've never been to China. And yet you've got enormous stories about everything. I did my research on Google. Am I boring you? It just continues my theme from today, kind of the ongoing theme I have of critical thinking and what you're being presented with as stories that you can't prove. Are you buying the story hook, line, and sinker like a good little high school student? Or are you saying to yourself and other people, I don't know what the truth is. This is the story they're telling, and I see an awful lot of places where the stories that they're telling are truths. I can see that they're full of lies. It doesn't make me feel very good. So I don't like trusting people who are totally untrustworthy. Would I trust Donald Trump? No. Do I think he's a Nazi? My general way of labeling humans on this planet is pretty much, unless I'm making a joke, which isn't really that good of an idea, I don't call people Nazis and mean it. But if even the mainstream news puts out a story and it's about corruption, I guess I'm going to talk about it. I don't like to too much because they're already talking about it. What can I add? I don't know the politicians. I see their video clips, and I guess I assume that it's not a computer-generated animation, but the more I see CGI, and it's all freely available. You can go on YouTube and look at the quality of CGI, and you can see like President Obama. And they say, this ain't Obama saying this. This is a computer-generated simulation. And it's perfect. Is it believable on television? Yep. I've never been to New York City, so I've never seen the old Twin Towers. with my own eyes. I never went up those towers to look out the top floor. As far as I know, they never existed. It's just a story. But, you know, at the time of 9/11, I was living in Vancouver, Canada, and I remember the reaction that the Vancouverites had, and all the stories that came on mainstream news. But I can't confirm very much at all. Because it was all presented by TV news. I don't trust TV news. As far as that goes, I know even my own eyesight, it's not really that trustworthy. Because I've seen people, doppelganger people, you know, people who look like other people. I've seen it so many times. So, you know, is eyewitness testimony? No, it's not. It's not good. Do I believe we're being lied to? Yes. Why? Because the lies they tell are full of holes. The lies they tell on, they're full of holes. So you don't have to go and, you know, see a lot of stuff before you start poking holes in the narrative and saying, somebody's telling a big stinking lie here. What is the Donald Trump agenda? He wants to play golf. He likes publicity. Why did Donald Trump, earlier on in his presidency, come up with the weird word covfefe? Weird word. Misspeak? No, they say no. I looked it up today because it sounds like COVID. Covfefe. And sure enough, there was an internet article that said it has to do with adrenochrome. And that people that take this adrenochrome from, you know, scared children's blood, apparently they get a lot of iron in their blood, too much iron from taking this substance. Iron, the chemical symbol for iron is Fe, as in ferrous. So COV, Fe is, the Fe is about too much iron in your blood, and they add COVID because apparently, according to this website, people who are taking adrenochrome are more susceptible to COVID-19 and getting sick. Now, this is the most cockamamie idea. The website, I mean, it's just nuts. But it's freely available for you because you can go covfefe, COVID-19, and look it up. And I put those two words there, COVID, covfefe, and then I put Q for QAnon, and it came right up. So if somebody's making these things, if I've already thought of these things, are they true? Do I think people are really drinking children's blood? Granted, there are lots of murders in my little town of 100,000 people. Is it possible that some of the crazy people that are committing murder, usually it's over, you know, drug turf, but, you know, these kind of people could be interested in a new kind of drug made from tortured children? I hate to say it, but I hate to say it. I don't want to say it.